Stop fighting for parking at Yosemite. Northern California has 15 state parks that deliver the same jaw-dropping scenery without the reservations, the shuttle buses, or the 4-hour entry lines. From granite spires that look like half-dome to redwood forests taller than Yosemite's giants, these are the crowd-free sanctuaries you've been missing. The route begins in Northern California's Redwood country. Number 1. Jedediah Smith, Redwoods State Park. If Yosemite's giant sequoias leave you speechless, wait until you step inside Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park. The trees here aren't just tall, they're skyscrapers of living wood, some rising over 300 feet above the forest floor. Sunlight filters through thick green canopies, creating cathedral-like beams that make every trail feel sacred. The Smith River, one of California's last wild rivers, runs crystal clear beside moss-covered banks. And unlike Yosemite's busiest groves, you can actually hear the silence here. Just wind in the branches and your own footsteps. 2. Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park. Just south, Prairie Creek Redwoods looks lifted from another era. Fern Canyon's walls rise 50 feet high, draped in layers of vibrant green ferns that look straight out of Jurassic Park. Roosevelt elk graze openly in wide prairie meadows, often closer than you'd expect. Coastal fog rolls in, wrapping the forest in a cool, mystical glow. It's the kind of place where every corner feels cinematic, but without tour buses lining the road. You get the sheer size, the drama, and the atmosphere Yosemite offers, minus the crowd noise. 3. Humboldt Redwoods State Park. Then there's Humboldt Redwoods State Park, home to the largest remaining old-growth redwood forest on Earth. Driving the Avenue of the Giants is like cruising through a natural skyscraper corridor, with trunks wider than cars and bark textured like ancient armor. Some trees here predate the Roman Empire. Wander onto a quiet trail, and the scale becomes overwhelming, not just in height, but in age and presence. Yosemite may have granite icons, but Humboldt delivers a different kind of monumentality, living giants that make you feel wonderfully small. From towering coastal forests, the scenery trades ocean air for high elevation, where redwood shadows give way to sharp granite skylines and alpine air. 4. Castle Crags State Park. Heading inland, sharp granite spires suddenly emerge from the forest at Castle Crags State Park. These jagged formations rise like broken granite blades above the Sacramento River. The hike to Castle Dome rewards you with sweeping views of Mount Shasta and surrounding wilderness that rivals Yosemite's high country. Yet the trails remain surprisingly unfiltered. Instead of navigating packed switchbacks, you'll likely share the summit with a handful of hikers, if anyone at all. Number 5. MacArthur Burney Falls Memorial State Park. This place centers around one unforgettable sight: Burney Falls. Water pours 129 feet over a basalt cliff in thick, misty curtains, fed by underground springs that keep it flowing year-round. Stand at the base for 30 seconds, and you'll understand why some call it California's most reliable waterfall. The short loop trail brings you face-to-face with the Cascade, where cool spray hangs in the air even in summer. While Yosemite's waterfalls depend on snowmelt timing, this one performs at full strength nearly every day of the year, without the shoulder-to-shoulder viewing platforms. 6. Donner Memorial State Park. Donner Memorial State Park pairs alpine scenery with Sierra history along the shores of Donner Lake. Snow-dusted peaks frame calm blue water in winter, and summer reveals sandy coves and pine-lined trails that invite slow exploration. A lakeside path circles the shoreline, offering wide-open mountain views at nearly every turn. At sunset, the surrounding ridgelines glow amber and reflect across the water in near-perfect symmetry. It delivers that crisp, high-elevation Sierra atmosphere people chase in Yosemite, but with space to breathe, park easily, and actually linger. 7. Emerald Bay State Park. Further south along Lake Tahoe's western edge, Emerald Bay State Park showcases one of the most photographed views in the state. Turquoise water wraps around Fanette Island, crowned by a small stone tea house, as steep forested slopes plunge toward the shoreline. A steep trail descends to Viking's Home, a Scandinavian-style mansion tucked beside the bay. Yes, this spot draws visitors in peak season, but compared to Yosemite Valley gridlock, access here feels manageable, especially early or late in the day. The scale and color alone make it unforgettable. After the High Sierra's stone and waterfalls, the landscape shifts west, trading granite peaks for wind-carved cliffs and open ocean. 8. Salt Point State Park. Wind and surf have sculpted this stretch of coastline into one of Northern California's most unusual landscapes. Honeycomb sandstone formations, known as tafoni, pattern the cliffs in intricate geometric shapes formed over centuries. Waves slam into flat rock shelves and burst into white spray as the tide rises. Walk the bluffs, study the stone up close, listen to the steady rhythm of the Pacific. Visitor numbers stay relatively low compared to California's headline coastal stops. What you get here is texture, motion, and solitude. 9. Mendocino Headlands State Park. Perched above the ocean just outside the village of Mendocino, sheer cliffs drop into deep blue water below. Dirt paths trace the edge of the continent and reveal hidden coves carved into the rock. In spring, wildflowers color the bluffs in bold patches of orange and violet. Gray whales pass offshore during migration season, often visible from land. The scenery rivals the state's most photographed coastal drives. Yet outside peak weekends, the experience remains unfiltered and open. Number 10. Russian Gulch State Park. Right next to Mendocino, a completely different landscape unfolds within minutes. Russian Gulch shifts from quiet redwood forest to a fern-lined canyon where a waterfall drops into a cool basin tucked beneath tall trees. Follow the inland trail to reach the cascade, then continue west toward a collapsed sea cave that forms a striking natural arch along the shoreline. Waves surge through the opening with force at high tide. Forest, canyon, coastline, all within a single, compact adventure. 11. Point Reyes State Park. Space defines this peninsula. Grasslands roll towards steep cliffs, and long trails stretch for miles above restless surf. Far below, a historic lighthouse clings to a rocky point reached by a long stair descent often wrapped in fog. Tule elk move across open fields, adding life to an already expansive scene. Walk, climb, descend, explore. Coastal wind, open sky, endless horizon. The visual impact here competes with California's most iconic landscapes. Yet once you move beyond main access points, serene stretches dominate. Leaving the Pacific behind, the route bends back toward the mountains and historic foothills of California's Gold Country. 12. Plumas Eureka State Park. High in the northern Sierra, alpine lakes sit beneath quiet ridgelines far from the usual tourist routes. Plumas Eureka State Park blends mountain scenery with gold rush history in a way few places manage. Weathered wooden buildings from a former mining town still stand among tall pines, giving the landscape a sense of depth beyond its natural beauty. Hike to panoramic viewpoints, explore preserved structures, wander through wide summer meadows. Expect Yosemite-style elevation and granite backdrops, just without the packed trailheads. 13. Malakoff-Diggins State Historic Park. At first glance, the forest gives no hint of what lies ahead. Then the trees open up, revealing massive cliffs of exposed earth carved by hydraulic mining in the 1850s. Malakoff-Diggins looks less like Northern California and more like a canyon from the southwest, with towering walls glowing gold and amber in late light. Below the cliffs, preserved wooden buildings mark the site of a once thriving boomtown. The contrast between tranquil forest and sudden scale makes this park one of the region's biggest surprises. 14. Mount Tamalpais State Park. Rising above the Bay Area, Mount Tamalpais commands a panorama that stretches across ocean, city, and rolling hills. From its summit, the Pacific spreads westward, the San Francisco skyline appears in the distance, and layers of ridges ripple toward the horizon. Trails climb through redwood groves before reaching exposed slopes with uninterrupted views. Despite its location near major population centers, pockets of trail remain surprisingly open outside peak weekends. Few places combine accessibility and wide-open perspective so seamlessly. Number 15. Grover Hot Springs State Park. Near the Nevada border, Granite Peaks frame a quieter kind of destination. Grover Hot Springs centers around natural mineral pools set within a high-elevation valley. After days of cliffs and coastlines, warm water and cool mountain air provide a different reward. Nearby paths pass through meadows and aspen stands that glow gold in autumn. Soak in silence, breathe deeply, let the tension fade. It's a fitting finale, proof that Northern California's state parks offer not just grandeur, but restoration. Drop your favorite Northern California state park in the comments and let us know which one surprised you most. And if you're planning a full trip, watch our Things to Do in Northern California video next to build the ultimate itinerary.